Meat space. So, fundamentals of meat world accomplished. Silo, online. Void block. In position. Time being, I think the age of meat science is not yet upon us. Got some vague additional ideas for how to further evolve the architecture of the biomachines without even having seen how Meat Machine 3 would handle. It would probably handle mostly like Meat Machine 2. I think there are some structural adjustments that would make the whole process more modular. That would be kind of ideal. The drawback of the biomachines so far is that each of these cells has been kind of an all-or-nothing unit, that disrupting any part of it could collapse the whole ecology. I want to work towards an alternative meat architecture that can, on the fly, sprout a fresh limb, discard an unneeded limb, or have some capacity to, like, maybe through control wires, assign priorities to different tasks. Guess we'll put a couple more of these on the ground in key locations. Case of crab. Power continuity out here. Guard the sketch pad. And guard the end of the assembly line. Yes, the next leg of activity. The novice needs work. And to help oversee things while I'm away, let's just throw together some basic equipment for the tank. In case it needs to put on a show. Commandeer gear will do. Couple of shields for personal safety. Battery packs. Have a little bit of energy buffer. And robot hives. Local logistic. Probably don't need that many hives. All that to facilitate being powered by a single atom. Okay, this will take a little more rearranging. Yeah, fair enough. Binox. At least now we know. It could be improved by adding spices. That much is certain. Laura probably has more lightning turrets. Might even have more modules lying around. So we'll just check in. Some parts of this were unjammed. So the consideration that I should resume making reinforced concrete in anticipation of building more rail bridges. The real way that Volgora could begin to grow again is hooking up more islands, creating specialized islands that do larger jobs, do larger batches of smaller jobs. Okay, delivery of Tesla turrets already underway. what else is available and get it sorted. The merits of these as a weapons platform will definitely get a thorough field testing by installing any of them on the perimeter back in Novice. New quality modules. Alright, I should also be reinforcing concrete to make labs. That's a part of the chain that I had cut off. Hydration, though. Water pipe is over there. All on the network. The locally available long arm is itself rare. Might have to settle for uncommons for the unloading. There we are. Yes, and that will sink more of the concrete overflow currently plagues the factory. received 20 lightning guns. Wait till fuel tops off. Right, I suppose it does make a degree of sense that it doesn't innately know its fuel levels, because whether or not you even have fuel storage is something you do on your own terms on the platform. The engine isn't a real part of the ship, per se. I have the inventory space to spare. Let me just haul up some foundation material. Gonna beef up this platform. And planning ahead for the future. Move bioscience and some amount of bioflux. Possibly not that much bioflux. Okay, fully receiving all of this would take quite a while. Let's go. Even before arriving on Meat World. Machine was still a little meat. Contained a touch of that meat essence. from here, it will be safe to just do a full resurfacing of the platform around some kind of new plan. In due time. For now. Back in action. Tanks can stand down. And work can resume. We got a lot of paving done. Good work as always from our bots. How much uncommon copper is 50,000? Uncommon copper wire still clogging up the network. Would prefer to give it a chance to spin up into circuit. So, quick portage. At wildly inconsistent run speed. The ever-growing patchwork. The local paving network. A better version of the war mill will live in this space when I feel like generating it. Well, this space. This space is the war mill. Better version of the robot hatchery could try to move in here. Well, I am currently stocked up on motor. It's unclogging the circuits that is needed to get blue to exist again. Wheels are trying to turn. Bring plastic. Upcycle the red. Maybe that's the start of this. I need to shift those inward. Who used to have all these other jobs. Go to temp drop and empty out. All uncommon plastic. To the drop station. Rare drop train has been over here for ages. Alright, that brings back into mind. Rather than having one side or the other be the designated through lane on my station sidings here, my loading docks, I'd have it alternate back and forth. That way I'm able to use the side lanes, still giving every station in each block an exit line. Like for this block, this side has to stay open because I've already used this side. But after that block, yes, that lines up nicely. Alright, though I might need to extrude that a little further back. Accomplished with right away here. Yes, an arrangement something like this. Or not. Series of the dance. Is there's room to slide those stations forward a little? Yeah. Good enough. New airdrop station. Back in this familiar space of concrete. All bones, no flesh. Yeah, there we go, blue is flowing again. Purple flax track. Actually depleted the track machine of its stock. Any assembler 3 will do. So for sustaining science output. $1.7 per machine. Well, no, a little less. Bit under 6. And a single machine does 5, so Hoover. Already had a lot of material prepared for this. And there, use the larger request sizes to smooth that out. Got a decent number of furnaces to go around. Alright, let me request the lightning. I could deliver some of these to some known hotspots and see how they manage. Right, I had considered taking down vintage steam power entirely, converting to heat tower for my fuel burning. Even a single common heat tower would hit most of the capacity of that whole rig. Right, the unstackable nuclear fuel cell. A single rod. No, it would take multiple heating towers, right? It's a legendary heating tower. Caps out at equivalent to a basic nuclear reactor. Those security supplies are all in order. I don't actually need more rare heat pipe for the moment. Yeah, the tower is there. We'll need more heat exchangers. Best available. So each of these handles almost 9 times the fuel. One of these boilers. And outputs more energy for it. Although, wait, is that... Well, no, that's the consumption rate, not the output rate for the heat. That part of performance will be different. So 4 of these will be enough to replace that entire array. Once I have the turbines for them to spin into. Oh, you know what? Just build it at rare. The inventory is probably there. Yeah, I've got thousands of raw rare material laying around. No steel, though. At least no steel here at the hub. Any bit of steel that's out of network. Rare steel was being used by some other things. There's the backlog of rare steel. That's slightly closer to the main buildings. What do you have uncommon in the heap? Old rare drop station can clear out. Max consumption 16 megs. Right, output rating 64 meg. I'm about to add a lot of energy to the grid. Probably more than I have fuel for. Need the appropriate limiters so as not go completely berserk. "16 rare exchangers." Be able to handle that. No rare iron laying around. That's understandable. There's immense demand for fancy iron. It goes everywhere and with everything. Number of turbines that I'm going to need to process all of that steam is a lot. Enough that I should probably settle for trying to roll up the uncommon turbine. Right, I do have Paul sitting in all of this. rare drop train. Yeah, rare wire no longer exists. Metal, metal, plastic. As the first perimeter station to call in, Roboport. You are now at the front of the line. Receive new technology. How those do. This time, anything gets provoked into approaching your walls. Oh, that also stuns. Well, alright, yeah, of course it would. That's the way the other shock weapon works. That is further value. If you get that to overlap properly with the range of other weapons, that can then capitalize on that. Yeah, that'll save a lot of time. Those get the first zap in, and then no damage is done to the walls during the stun. Yeah, that probably justifies the energy cost. So 2 portable fission units is definitely enough power for the suit. I could even fill the space that reactor was in with more fighting bits. Even if I were completely invulnerable, it is still a bit of a slog to engage in fighting at this density. If only there were a better way. We'll hold off on the journey to Vulcanus. Till I have given meat science a fair chance to do what it do. Is quite capable. most of the exchangers accounted for. I can release heat tube production. It's done what it can to try and cut into the backlog of copper and steel. Way that should enrich both metals. Commandeers. Wasn't routinely carrying around any pocket combinators yet here. It already have a few turbines in storage. Built the nuclear plant in its current state. Pull those out of the warehouse. I do have a rare gear machine. It's currently unfed. I could start drafting out the device. So. Saving fuel via conveyor belts. Old system. Doubling fuel, potentially, very, very quickly. But all according to a limiter to be connected later. Bring out the tubes. 5 water. Six water. 1.7. For 27 turbines. Across the whole rig at that quality level. Oh, right, with reduced fluid jank. Just introduce a gap there, and then just have equalizing pipe down the middle. The buffer tanks fit in pretty elegantly down here. Connect the whole thing to the grid with 2 heroic substations. Have the belt tunnel in. Also have a little equalizing connection there. Sure that all of these are sharing their heat pretty effectively. And now I need to source parts. All the rare iron is already in place. that naturally leads to the idea of recreating some of my ancestral production modules here. Just now within the shared space of the hub. Yeah, right, the sound of cargo pods dropping with fresh void beakers. A vague awareness that as the metal planet, here's the rest of the heat exchangers I would want. Job heat exchange machine. But yeah, as the metal planet, Volcanus has, they have the metal themed production building. I may well wish to harness its power first. Common, vague, general opinions that I have encountered on ranking of the planets. Volcanus is pretty normal and, like, fastest and easiest of the planets. There is agreement that Fulgora is paradise. Many adherents to the ways of garbage, and meat is strange. And then, of course, that once you arrive at ice and beyond, where these aren't so much planets as they are space biomes, you fly into them and the asteroid split becomes more and more dangerous. But also more delicious. Right, once you get to ice, ice is the final boss. Deep space is the bonus boss. Alright, focus in on the research machine. On the use case of the pizza barge exists and has just delivered hot and fresh 1,000 meat beakers. ThinkBlock is already handling the space science buffering pretty well. Want to set up that can have at the ready on the belts and in the domes 1,000 of the rest of the rainbow. Right, even more good wire falls out of there. That's how I have that set up. Always more quality wire. Okay, you've successfully wrangled the uncommon wire down to below 50,000. Alright, 25,000. Crush. Eventually down to sub 10,000. May as well turn the dial in. It's... Okay, the circuit machine in general is unclogged now. It's like 10,000 wire. It's 9,000 something wire. Full box. Now, the consumption time of each beaker varies with the technology. Okay, 12 by 5. and a smidge. So this is a bit over 60 arbitrary number I will write on the label and say, yes, that's a science. 60 ideas per thinking unit. A lot of research at this point is itself 60 units per cycle. That means I am, by coincidence, floating close to beaker per second as the benchmark to work with. .6 and 0.28. Red line is up to it. .25 by 4. Slightly slower. Well, because you have slightly worse productivity mods. But I can fix that.
Beep.
Feel good. There, now you're slightly over. Same deal over here, 0.3. .3 and 0.7 and change. The military line has enough machines on it. 0.1 and up. On 10 machines. Three 0.18. Yeah, 6 would do it. If the supplies were actually here. That in turn increases the amount of rail production that I want. Have more of these and more supplies for them. I need the stick mill. Return from beyond. Alright, 2 for 1 output. Potential capacity that probably needs a stronger supply line, but these are things to arrange. Then over here, all of you. Two. Yeah, bit under 6 machines as well. Provide beaker per second average output. Some of those are getting built. A bunch of these heat exchangers. I should launch up some combinators so I can try to build a slightly smarter asteroid collection system. Or the bare minimum that I think would work for control circuitry. It's 4 deciders? Three currently needed, and then the 4th one to, like, just be prepared in advance for the future. In case a cosmic ray flips a bit and decides to give me a Prometheum asteroid outside its natural environment. Fitting a rocket 50 at a time, so I may as well build a lot of them. With, so, the principle being not you think block. You're already perfect. I already have my wires listening to the contents of the asteroid carousel, where the fragments live. Want my array of deciders here. Each of which contains a check like pair off. No, this allows me to build algebraic statements inside of a single combinator. That'll save a lot of floor space in the future. The cube will love that. Someday, cube. Space things. Metallic chunk. Less than 10. And one. Then one metallic chunk, yes, because that's shows up in filters here, yes. I guess their lack of physical presence means I don't. Or no, I had started from the other end. All right. Metallic. Less than 10. And one metallic. Carbon. 10. One carbon. Oxide, less than 10. One oxide. Promethium. 10. And one promethium. For all the chance that this array will exist in its current form by the time I'm going to the edge of space. So, combine that output signal. Reach the extension cord all the way out. Incidentally, so the utility of sending power lines up to the platform, even though you don't need them for electricity, is to use them as signal machines. Transmit data. Latch you onto this conveyor belt and just tell you not to interact. That would also probably be another use for radar circuits, although how much other use radar has in space? It's quite a bit of lore footprint compared to just a single pole from which to string a cable. Yeah, you do nothing. Now you set filters based on the circuit. All of you. So anything that is an insufficient supply on the belt, once the devices are actually there to do the math. Which I should arrange. Ciders. Anything else on my person that I would want on the platform? More inserters is always good. I'm gonna need more of those if I scale up production. There we go. So, conveyor inventory should be able to remove the limiters after the backlog of stuff that's already stocked in the collectors is done. Productivity modules in the labs are way out of date. Hold on. Let's upgrades what could be made. I guess the rare ones are preferable to the common twos. So that in turn is just a prompting to throw these common twos into the recycler. Pull them up. I do have this. Is that all enough? Just barely. It kind of collides with the circuit machine right on the corner there. But up more. Yeah, if I situate it over here. So then it's also slamming into the power grid. Just move it over into this cell more. Yeah, that would do. And I just need to bend the fuel line over. I have the parts for another rare reactor. Doubled up on the atoms to get 4 times the atomic power. That would do a lot of good for the grid. And create demand for even more high-performance heat exchange equipment. $128. Well, that they get their adjacency bonus. 64 directly to 256. Divided by 16 to get 16 rare heat exchangers needed. Which I do have in stock, combining with what's on the ground. Reactors can conduct heat through each other very efficiently. I'm loading all the water from the other side. Burn lines. Fuel unpacking. In 5, 2640 steam. Process at peak. We had to complete a rare turbine. Bulk production of common turbine might be the way out of this. Make them humble and spin the wheels, see which ones come out of the process looking good. All of this is cause for the gear machine. No local quality modules. They did all get scooped into existing projects. So, an X factor here. Part of the advantage of switching over to the burner towers. that then I could have the resulting heat and steam supplies intermix between the two, liquidating all available heat into a common system. Okay, there's a crop of modules worth harvesting. Void block. A journey. We'll go right where I'd want to build all my additional war gear anyway. Tank factory. Success story. Yeah, I'll go ahead and commission the concept of some more platforms, even if it'll be ages before I actually get them built up. Yeah, trash block for permanent stationing over Fulgora. Though I will build up its core systems here where it's safe to hatch a new boat. Alright, I can add the concept of a platform in advance and it'll just exist as a blueprint. So, meat block, future installation over Gleba. Unfortunately, I don't think there is direct cargo transfer between things in the same orbit. The stationary satellites will still have use as being a persistent source of recovery material, a nutritional supplement to the local production chain. Cut off direct production of uncommon weapons here. Reclaim some of these bits. Probably redeploy them somewhere else. And yeah, that'll now auto-deliver to the concept of meat block. And then third platform to go about building at this juncture is the meat van. Be the high-speed cargo shuttle for persistent convoying of meat data. Okay, a bot was about to grab that core and deploy it to the shuttle. Fair enough. A lot of things to do. Oh. Void block, you have arrived. Void block, you are receiving cargo. Gora, you are sending care packages. Yeah, target performance for meat block would be to as frequently as possible, well, not meat block, but the meat van. Identical blank slate on which to build another ship. Would be to make as frequent trips as possible at speed. So, compact, minimum systems necessary for reliable travel and self-defense. Main limiter being how long it would take on arrival to send up the payload. And then how long on return to distribute the payload. 1,000 beakers is a single rocket. And how worth it would it be to have multiple rockets? Well, since one launcher can have 2 buffered in the barrels. Or no, if we're really caring about turnaround, the goal would be to have multiple launchers ready in parallel to load and leave with as fresh a batch of material as possible. Rapidly loading one rocket is already going to be a pretty big production achievement. I can already kind of picture an arrangement for the warehousing process on the other side. Probably driven by a healthy cloud of longshoreman bots. The bots can prioritize handling freshness. But alright, so basic speaking it out draft of what it would look like. So it would be Quester, or no, the bots can pile things directly into the rocket. But it won't request things unless there is a platform currently present. Base lifespan of a meat beaker is an hour. So there's a lot of room for flexibility, but the fresher you can get it to the lab, the more duration it has. So there's also direct, immediate feedback on spoilage versus value of cargo. So, provider box to buffer in, full of meat science. So the bots will then be able to swarm in, grab all of the liquid, and toss it rapidly into the silo. So that would be constantly loading up with the output from the meat science machine, one or more of those. But then for each of them, bring the concept over here to wiggle at. So for each of them, via direct control wire. A check of when there is a surplus of meat by like some additional margin as well. Let it get overproduced a bit, depending on how much raw meat throughput will be achieved. Maybe 1100. For the pure meat research, as before, the arguments can be made for doing that locally on the home planet of the science pack. But this is planning for the future of rainbow research that requires the full array. Everything will have to be consolidated somewhere, and it may as well be here if everything is traveling. It actually becomes fewer things traveling once you're doing the full spread. Besides, the meat lab itself, proper, is made here. It is time for the biodata. And the biocomputer. Yeah, something like that. Prioritize oldest. Throw beaker onto spoilage outlet. So what else I want, like the arms loading the silo to prioritize freshness. Yeah, in turn, bringing back the argument of there should be arms loading the silos from the boxes. It should run on requesters instead of having the silo directly place the order. Or I could use a carousel. A lot of options for how this could be done. How many crab eggs will have to be incubated in order to make this happen? Alright, you got your commons for module. You picked up a bunch more foundation, possibly. Currently doing foundation. Yeah, there's no shortage of space foundation built already on Fulgora. Matter of getting more rockets launched. That'll do for now. Return to Novice and unload. Reprocess all those uncommon sticks. I have uses for iron. Okay, the uncommon copper has been successfully wrangled. better fuel system. Definitely on the list of things to do here. Not for Void Block, well, also for Void Block itself. Void Block deserves treats. But for the eventual reasoning behind how to design the delivery van for the meat. Qualities. Yeah, Motorwork is now a subsidiary of the Droid Factory. Raws are I think still down to copper and iron for battery making. We should bring in circuits as well. Remade. Otherwise, lubricant is arriving by pipeline directly from the oil refinery. Likewise, sulfuric acid is a problem for a different part of the machine. So it's iron for gears and tubes. Steel for engine blocks. Circuits for electric engines. Android frames. Both green and red circuit. For final assembly of the robots, where necessary. Although that's infrequent enough that it can probably be handled by the network. The bots can take care of their own. And right, I did clear the parking lot of all the little miscellaneous commuter trains that were trying to form. Remaining small iron mine, these are occupied, so you wait. In fact, you get repurposed. You are no longer part of that group. Stay here. Pop one car off of you. Send you to your new job. Then leads elegantly to confronting that I have not created a new steel pickup platform. By delaying it just slightly longer. Back to the old customs of drawing in truly preposterous volumes of input buffering. Actually drop that over there for imaging purposes. Port's too close. Room to do it this way. will cut off this paving machine from its persistent supply. Split there. Donate some of that output. There's the connection. Box is over here. A belt connection of a sort. It'll do. That on the ground. Couple of splits to do. The iron is used here and then used at battery. One escape route for it. That will combine with the copper, so that's a convenient place to do that. Then do essentially this, but flipped. And with tube. Creating the new tube mill. Single strike. In all my qualities. About to send out for another batch. Manually drop all the beakers. Okay, I'll let it attempt a patrol based on satisfying requests. Probably going to result in it just sitting at Fulgora until I tell it not to. That's an acceptable outcome. Now needs motors. Motor work is currently under consideration. Or the volume of motor production that I need here. Okay, only about 1 for the blue. And 0.3 droid frames. Which, only a single droid machine would do the job. Meaning a single electromotor machine, meaning another 0.1 regular motor production. Okay. But mere normal base scales, not that big a deal. Briefly sparing attention back to here. Beam line on the outer edge. And no, that's large. Our substation can reach the whole thing from the side. Or it'll be able to reach a lot more from outside. Probably going to need to extend more off of that. We're just doing this with all commons. 44 units. 11 deep set of 4 layers. Which, if I lay that out as a worst case scenario. Alright, I need a bit more space. Thing over a ways. That'll at least serve the job of placeholding here. Then for each high quality turbine that I build into this, required number goes down. %30 better, so each roughly 3 of those removes 1 of those. A little worse than that. Alright, the rest of the rare heat exchangers will come from the decommissioning of the previous plant. Good to see both reactors are up. Cut off production of more new reactors. How fast is one quality-driven motor machine? Got my working example. Over here. 0.1. 1.3. So, between 7 and 8 of them to achieve unit per second. That would also be a little better than that with the quality on them. All of those gears already got swept away to various requesters. We have a very hungry machine. Supply lines. Been waiting a long time to restore the flow. It will flow. Gear and steel to the outer. And then full belt the tubes to the inner. check those. Right, there's still no such thing as a gears for export machine. Arm supply train. Just go drop off at the arm station and wait there. You can be reassigned. This will not be running at full power all the time. A direct use of steel in this workflow? No. Pick up a bar and look at it. Think about girders. Yeah, here in the robot process, they enter at motor. That's it. The goal of this steel line is to come out here. Head around the edge. Put a bit close. I put circuit connection onto this belt, would probably only read as far as there. And about if there's a way that I can... Inventory limiter is probably the only reasonable way to do it on the box. Make it so that some common gear become visible to the network. Droid Iron Van, where are you? Trying to park, but you're stuck in traffic. Okay, that's a signaling error. Many things are visible to each other. Should not be. Or being held up by the fact that you can see this train all the way over there. There. The network in motion. So that's capacity to make many normal motor. In addition to that, full low density setup should move. It has created a healthy inventory for itself though. Make a nicer low density setup later. Wait, no, not the modules. Those in hand for a while. Those can be placeholders. Very important to still be rolling some dice. More rare prod 2s have also formed. I can take these over to the labs. Installation in the labs multiplies everything else. Uncap the prod 1 stockpile because I would like the byproducts. More of these turbines have finished, and here is the reactor in progress. The whole thing at uncommon. We need 34 units. Or 8 layers deep. Setup. Kind of eyeball out how many of the commons I can trim. Yeah, the lab's making good time now. And on repeatables. the first 50 meat makers to become the secrets of wood. Wood knowledge has some importance. Fish farm is going to exist as a secondary operation, enabled by the fact that I'm importing bioflux anyway in order to feed a biter ranch down the line. That will all have its place. Biolab has to be made on the meat planet. Can it exist here on Novice? Able to breathe this atmosphere? Looks like yes. The idea of making meat science here actually trades one peril for another, because now you're talking about express delivery of a crab egg through the void. So, actually definitely a step down. The eggs are far less stable and far more irritable. Supply of rocks for the kiln. If I gave you a new job on the side? That's what's stopping these from running, that I don't have gravel on the logistics network. Could just as well build it over from the input from the kiln as the existing place where rocks are being delivered already. Diagonal conveyor. Yeah, here they go. Only have them go ahead. siphon off of that steel drop-off. Removes any direct need for these to use requesters. They're now served mostly directly by the rail network. One small exception. Those tubes out as well. Void block, how is the situation? What trash exports have been prepared for the move? Not as many as I'd hope, but still a healthy crop. Wise, I can check on that from up here. You can hear the local logistics net. There are 20 rares, 36 uncommons, and 30 commons currently on the grid. And how is Magnet Lab production going now? They resumed reinforcing any concrete. It looks like the commons are happening. Right, I'm grinding all of those down into pulp. In pursuit of more rare labs, which two? Non-zero, you'll love to see it. Very expensive installations, but worth every ingot. And the magnet science is properly running. Yeah, when the machine is active enough that it is suffering power outages, that's a good sign. Have some more bald spots in the paving orders there. Still, the connections are slowly forming. Off of the existence of this. Small number of electromotor machines live over here. By installing these, I'm going to fully deprecate this whole setup, which will also free up a bit more floor space for the war mill when I eventually refactor that. That part of the process can begin. Got the supply line there. That steel is now only for fighting. Not need this combined metal belt. I can let exit back to there. And just kind of grip and rip. New battery machine will be part of the extended layout. The supply was quite healthy. So, pipeline under the ribbon cable. Mixed belt of regular motor. Circuit to load these with. Split this green line. Spread one side of it over there. Though I may end up just as well using this one. Now I can have the separate line wrap around the other side and hook in to the robot house. in the heap of impending things to do. Also, yeah, there we go. Once again, thousands of track on demand. Always ready for battle. Creating a new standardized linear defense piece of robo fortification. That'll probably be part of this sprint. All of the pre-made dynamite that I had in the network. Oh. Battery maker. Conveniently holding a stack of rare chemical plants. Resulting throughput here. Got more of the fancy lads in hand. These belong in secondary recycler. And then in like one of the on-demand assemblers over here. All attempts to make better turbines should benefit from the best available technology. Status of iron train. Traffic jam at parking lot due to signal error. Need one of you there. One of you here. Well, battery machine, base throughput 0.4. Quality. Drops to 0.34, which is still quite respectable. Metals in, batteries out. Back a little more of the acid pipeline. You will fit fairly elegantly here. Yes. Smooth. Safe by design. So I guess now both of these need to go through quality splitter. Which, only now having done it, that does tessellate nicely. Tile the surface with those. Just about. Set up like that would find reasonable footing on Trash World. Especially if they had like one more space between them, then instead of boxes, these could be additional belt tunnels that are just casting things off on a perpendicular bus. So a mixed belt needs to arrive. Sure. And the tubes will flow. Down here, nestled this far into the core. I want to bend things back in this direction a little bit. Well, now the robot hatchery, for its own purposes, can live pretty close to the hub. So, frames. Steel also needs to reach here. One thing overlooked, they do need additional bones. Pop off more reactor bits. Okay, the commons have actually caught up with the size of this array. Good job, commons. That should now work once I actually put the two of those in there. could be possible to pad this design out with more of these as well. We have 16 heat exchangers. The same amount of steam, hypothetically, if all 4 burn towers are being fully shoveled at the same time. They're unlikely to ever be at that level of output. That plus the parts that I will recover from breaking down the first reactor over there. Which also is not currently load bearing. Have steam buffers built into this somewhere. Measure output. Back one. That still fits. The water pipe to be able to escape at length. That will live over here. Cut off the input of fresh fuel. We'll let this burn through the power cells that it's already loaded with. That being the one in the bar. Things get a bit more perilous at night. We'll have to wait till sunrise. And I can preheat the burn towers with some rocket fuel. The 2 drastic operations that I want to perform: the main power systems of the entire facility. Either burn or atom. I think I'd go with the burners first, although I've already disconnected the power of the atoms. but also let's kind of declare number wang here. Go, my bees. Tear down. Test rig. Parts for the install. But inventory filled with fuel cube. Bots are hard at work. Now those are just outside of the network, huh? Oh, wait, I already have fuel cube requesters. Yeah, so these just exist as steel inline buffer, as usual. That frees up space for more loading docks. For the railway. And these are still preheating. It will take a while to get that entire thermal mass up to spec. Once it is, you know, some of these turbines might have gotten consumed by the other reactor blueprint. Also interconnect their steam lines. Help equalize pressure. Once there is any steam to equalize across them. There's water in the exchangers. Hold on. Wrong tunnel. There. Problem. Just like that, problems get solved. Alright, so these should get up to operating temperature shortly. Seems like they're steadily extracting heat. Give them a jug of rocket fuel. Yeah, there we go. Now the steam's up. Flesh is currently situation normal. Hibernating. Incubating. Improving some baseline stuff at the core to get things more ready for meat. Yeah, so before and after. Well, I guess it's not really going to show up until I actually have consumption drawing off of there, but those were the lines for the old turbines. For the old normal steam engines. Now the consolidated line for the switch to turbines. Capacity. The same fuel you already had, but more so. I'll add off logistics so I can just drop it in a box. And maybe now. Yeah, logistic that over there. More rare steam turbines have sprung into existence. We'll want to trade those into the array as they happen. That's only 39 pipeline capacity. Yeah, so I'll be able to just directly splice the steam from the super burner to the new nuclear plant, and they will just work together to boil water as angrily as possible. Just two brothers. Some loss of energy from letting the heat out of the core here. Yeah, I can accept that. It's like 2 atoms. Not that big a deal. We have many atoms. Much like the particle of sunlight. So I want to... It'll be easy to remove the RoboPort from this after I have pasted it down at its new home. That acid pipeline needs to move. Go high or it should go low. Water pipe won't be there because that tube is going to connect to our water inlet, which is now pointing south. I gotta move this acid pipe. It enters over here anyway. Actually kinda save some distance. I repurposed this. Light up here. high. Well, I don't even need that second run. I already have the split built in there. Rich. Creamy. Uncommon water. Swimming with ions. Total peak water draw of this would be 2,700. So actually, water pump count is going to start to matter now. Maybe try and get some high quality water pumps to exist. And all of these distinguished old steam engines can receive their final reward for service in the machine. You flip, rotate, stall over here. Now I have to get substations onto this. That's easy. Minimal problem. And one more for the end, but this end will gradually be trimmed off as I scale up the quality of the units in the array. Eventually, it's all gonna move up in the world. So, water intake. Might need some backup shortly, but I do also have this convenient bridge to draw water. Someday the legendary steam turbine. $72 pipe worth of steam. Did my heat exchangers go? Right, I didn't tear down the prototype yet. I suppose these should benefit from a common requester. For all the raw volume that has to be moved in the process of stoking the nuclear furnace. Common cells for fuel consumption. Right, this also needs to be upstream a little bit. And combined, this system has quite a bit of capacity to buffer steam. Let's say 15,000 is the set point to activate the atoms. The burner on its own is already doing an amazing job. This like production number is deceptive because it's just supposing that I could rev all of these turbines to full speed. If only. All the common turbines I'll be able to throw back into the mulch. Yeah, that's still my fuel consumption priority, is the burn tower is the first line of defense. And if it fails to keep up the pressure, then we release the atoms. Canister is going for reprocessing. Where uncommons just snap into the array. Well, I guess I'm making more and I should stop personally requesting them. They will build up and they can be deployed as they spring into existence. Supply chain is there for them. Science is pretty fixed. I mean, it's only held up right now because I'm telling it to do a farm project that can't be accomplished yet. I think it will hold that there. Then there is all manner of meat science that can be pursued. This will begin commitment to agricultural data. Got a couple layers of all the other stuff. One stack of electric weapon damage. Thing that can be done now. Left off at battery as a phase of the drone hatchery reestablished. of this equipment back into the network. That alarm was up here. It's time to do a bit of combat architecture. Starting from back here, this will be the supply zone. Single roboport situated here. Cover this whole stretch of the front. Didn't quite center that. Other ones are. Weird. Or wait, yeah, the roboport is a... No, it's a 4x4. Should fit evenly. Weird. Very weird. I don't have a standing request for repair packs on my novice loadout. Especially weird. Okay, so here's one grid. That is how far ahead the next grid line would be. Probably not going to have the actual... Well, the power lines extended out here shouldn't be drawing aggro. They might draw aggro anyway, but never know. Yes. All the way out there is the very edge. The wall. So starting from there, kind of extrude the wall back. Wall needs to be in places where it can't receive repair. Radar goes with the roboport. Rare Tesla turret. How much of this area can you cover? Quite a bit. Had you right on the line here. Reach out into the next cells. To really lay down the footprint of the absolute grid. Take out. That's an old grid power line that was upgraded. Out. The hell of it, drop a power line in the middle of the lake. Really have any area of effect weapons. Current loadout. Lightning Tower will become a source of crowd control. Not like, I'm not using explosives yet, and I'm not using flame. They're the two ones that would benefit from if I built, like, a series of funnels. Try and group the enemy together. The wall some teeth. For now, solid slab is still just kind of the way to go. Give it more raw HP between over there and over here. Less of this omnidirectional design. Think about weapon setups in terms of columns. I have, well, let me be holding the design normally. Start on grid line with the power pole here. Indeed. I think they need to be at least this close to have reasonable field of fire across the top of the wall. Leave them pass through ammunition supplies. Central point. Actually, yeah, there is one directly on the line, so that holds up for symmetry. They were pretty low on ammo. Dock up on return. Over the upcoming round of refits, that might be the opportunity to just fully deprecate piercing ammo, get all of it sent down range, or otherwise cycled out of inventory. Certainly things to do. Right on the line provides that. Bridge. Throw in the bullets I have, just to pass them along. Oh, right, you should be far enough ahead to actually power the arms. Yeah. Of these have their recently added uranium rounds. Part of the current tech. Drop like one lightning gun here on the center line. Out into the whole zone. That seems like the start of something. That's a reasonable area of effect. Just need a little bit more rolling out of supporting infrastructure, and then I can have kind of a continuous line of beam and bullet outside the reach of the requester net, so that'll just have to be a box that's back there, and then a tunnel delivering just about to where it needs to be. Yeah. These and other developments to follow. All to properly prepare the way for meat. All the further quality of design.